back,
Yes.
John Allen.
Yes, it is good to be back. Now, let's get to the introduction.
Okay, all right. Thank you for joining us in the Bulletin tonight. My name is Yvonne Okwara Matole.
Very good. Yeah, I think that we can wind up the Bulletin.
We
go
can,
home.
we're done. Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, welcome back, Yvonne. It's great to have you, and congratulations once again.
Thank you. A whole month. I hope we can get this right.
I know. Let's hope so.
Okay.
Right. So in our news bulletin tonight, we've got lots from across the country. Of course, the burial and the activities around the burial of Fidel Odinga, but also the big picture on our Super Bowl tonight. Yvonne, maybe we can walk there.
Absolutely.
Is a story that has been developing since last year, late last year, December the 28th, the murder or the killing of Meshach Yebe. The question right out there, who killed Meshach Yebe? Yvonne, you've got some details on that.
So many unresolved questions in the wake of his death and when he was discovered early this year. And we'll be getting into the details of that now and all the sensational claims back and forth. Who was he a witness for? How crucial was he, to either side? Why wasn't he in witness protection? Did he refuse witness protection or didn't he? And most importantly today, John, is the fact that we will be speaking to his family.
Exactly.
And we'll be getting to know the Meshach Yebe of the Yebe family and what they're saying about him, because we've heard all of these from Ruto's Defense Council. We've heard from Aden Duale, the majority leader in Parliament. And so, of course, this is an interesting story to follow up on with this case. Seems to be so many twists and turns in the ICC case.
That's right, Yvonne. And of course, we've got lots more for you tonight on KTN Weekend Prime.
All right, let's get started tonight with the late Fidel Odinga's burial. The son to court leader Raila Odinga was laid to rest in Bondo today in a ceremony attended by thousands of people from Kenya and abroad.
KTN's Victor Ogale covered the ceremony and now reports.
From as early as 7 a.m., mourners had begun pouring into the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. 2 hours later, Fidel's body arrived at the ground, sending the crowds into a frenzy. One by one, dignitaries who included politicians from Kenya and beyond the borders began entering the grounds. As time moved, the crowds grew from hundreds to thousands who mourned in different styles.
Yangu ni kuleta salamu za kusema pole pole sana na kusema tumepoteza siku ya leo mtoto ambao tumefanya kazi sana naye kwa miaka mingi, lakini ameleta Kenya pamoja.
Fidel alikuwa rafiki yangu binafsi sana na alikuwa rafiki yetu, alikuwa Mkenya wa maana sana, na tulisema lazima tutakuja kumzindikiza ndugu yetu.
Some of you might not know, we have been through a very, very difficult process trying to establish the death of Fidel, the cause of death. A lot has been said about Fidel, standing tall at 6.7 feet, the protector of his siblings, and I can tell you for a fact, a serious confidant of his own father.
Mimi nasema nimempoteza rafiki, lakini Fidel ameenda na Fidel yuko. Wazungu wanasema the king is dead. Then they say long live the king.
We know how you are feeling, but we also appreciate how strong you have stood. We appreciate how you have been firm, how you have been able to comfort and be comforted by everybody who has come to you. We will stand with you. We will walk with you. We will pray for you.
From the grounds, the procession headed to Fidel's final resting place, where emotions were evident from family members and friends. The late Fidel has left behind a widow, Luam Bekele, and a son, Ale Odinga. And after an eventful day full of sorrow, the late Fidel Odinga was laid to rest at his grandfather's home, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga in Bondo. Victor Ogale, KTN, in the county of Siaya.
Let's move to the ongoing teacher strike now, and the National Assembly Majority Leader Aden Duale has proposed that primary and secondary education be devolved so that each county can deal with its own teachers instead of teachers having the power to paralyze education countrywide. Duale's proposal comes after the end of the first week of the teacher strike that has made it impossible for schools to reopen. He was speaking in Garissa.
We have devolved water. Let us devolve primary and secondary education so that each and every county will sit with its teachers and create the best package in terms of basic salary, in terms of house allowance, in terms of commuter allowance, and leave the national government to deal with the policy. So the billions that we allocate to Teacher Service Commission is redistributed to the 47 counties. So that in Garissa with our governor, we will sit with our teachers and we will solve our problem. So that if the teachers of Kisumu want to go on strike, let them go on strike. If the teachers of Garissa want to go on strike, let them go on strike. But the teachers of Mandera, of Eldoret, of Kilifi, can decide to teach.
From Garissa, let's go to Kiambu County, where hundreds of people were rendered homeless in Thika during a dawn demolition operation at Umoja estate. Victims were woken up by bulldozers that were operating under tight guard from the police and hired youth. KTN's Najma Ismail has that story.
This is what residents of Umoja estate at Makongeni, Thika Town woke up to. Demolitions of their property by an unknown developer. Several people were rendered homeless as property was destroyed in the early morning operation.
Wanakuja na mapolisi huku, wanatupomolea manyumba, watoto walikuwa wamelala, karibu watoto wakukiwa na manyumba.
At least 100 plots were demolished as area residents watched helplessly, not knowing what to do next. Some tried to salvage their property, while others decided to move from the area. Angry residents claim that several tractors guarded by heavily armed police officers and several youth raided the estate at 4 a.m., taking down everything.
William Kabogo, ambaye ni governor wa area hii, niambiwe watu wangu watalala wapi? Charity Ngiru, minister wa ardhi na makao. Nataka niambie leo watu wangu watakaa wapi? Sasa leo na internal security. Nataka niwaniambie kwa nini wameachilia serikali, police na kutoa Honda ambao watuelewi ni sakotikani.
The plot owner, however, claims that he is not behind the demolition, saying that several people have in the past produced fake title deeds claiming that the land was theirs.
Na nafikiri ni mimi ati nikifika huko watanichoma wananichomea gari. So siwezi kufika huko kwa shamba yangu.
Officers who spoke to the Standard on condition of anonymity say that the land was allegedly sold to unsuspecting private developers by unscrupulous people. Najma Ismail, KTN.
All right, now Kenya and China have signed a memorandum of understanding to strengthen the existing bilateral cooperation between the two countries. The new focus in partnership will center on industrial development, technology transfer, agricultural modernization, mineral exploitation, and infrastructure development. Speaking at the Foreign Affairs headquarters in Nairobi this evening, China's Foreign Affairs Minister Wang Yi said Kenya is at the stage of industrial takeoff and China is ready to support Kenya attain successful industrialization.
His Excellency Wang Yi and I have signed just a few minutes ago a memorandum of understanding on the establishment of a bilateral steering committee with a view to further consolidating and developing Kenya-China comprehensive cooperative partnership. And it's the same partnership, that of equality, of mutual trust, of mutual benefit, and win-win outcome. The bilateral steering committee will promote exchanges, cooperation in the political, economic, cultural, and other fields. The two sides also discussed the ongoing implementation of the 17 agreements touching on various segments of the Kenya economy and diplomatic relations with China that were signed during the state visit to Kenya of Premier Lee in May of 2014.
Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed seems to have had a very busy diary, flying back to Nairobi from Mogadishu from this very momentous conference, where for the first time in 3 decades, Somali capital Mogadishu hosted a conference for the IGAD Council of Ministers. The council resolved to support the Somalia federal government in its plans towards the 2016 elections and in the making of the final constitution.
It was a historic moment as foreign affairs ministers and ambassadors from 5 African countries met in Somalia for the first time in 30 years. The ministers and ambassadors from Kenya, South Sudan and Djibouti were led by the Ethiopian Foreign Affairs Minister and current chair of the IGAD Council of Ministers, Dr. Tedros Adhanom. Sudan was represented by a senior government official. The meeting that concluded this afternoon was one of the largest and highest profile meetings in the capital Mogadishu for years. Key issues discussed include security and political reconciliation within the Horn of Africa nation and its development towards stability.
The reason for hosting this IGAD meeting here is to discuss on the progress so far and also to consult on the implementation of Vision 2016. IGAD believes that Vision 2016 will be implemented as planned because, as I said earlier, the progress is commendable and we don't expect any problem to implement the IGAD, the Vision 2016. And hosting this meeting here, the IGAD ministerial meeting, is to show our solidarity first and also to give our full support for the progress that Somalia is making.
The ministers and ambassadors received reports from the federal government of Somalia on the implementation of Vision 2016, security and the integration of forces, stabilization and access to areas recovered from the Al-Shabaab.
In August last year, we brought you the story of Elizabeth Nanguta, a woman from Basaloi, Samburu, who was then an expectant mother. Now, Samburu is a county where most maternal and newborn health indicators are lower than the national average. We followed Elizabeth to know what happened since August and what the community stands to gain from a healthcare project initiated by 3 corporate bodies. Dorcas Wangira has that story.
There are places that sleep and wake up with sometimes little and sometimes no ambition. This is Barsaloi at the heart of Samburu, a desert that is both life and death, where one is released to focus only on what is essential. Elizabeth Nanguta lives here, and the first time we met her, there was a pulse of life 6 months in her womb. Her child was coming, and she hoped that she would give birth at the Barsaloi Health Center.
Unless you've walked a mile in a pregnant woman's shoes, you will never really understand how she feels. This road, laced with rocks and thorns in the very remote nerve of Barsaloi, is a silent witness to the journeys of many expectant women, some who walk for many kilometers just to get access to healthcare.
Her daughter and 4th child, Nayeku, came one evening in the first week of November.
I went to the clinic and didn't find a doctor. I came back home and gave birth. Took her to the clinic for an injection the same day.
When a woman gives birth at home, she can have many problems. What if a midwife touches infected blood? They should give birth in the hospital.
Samburu County still has some of the most grim statistics in maternal deaths. Many women here still die giving life, where maternal health care is not always the first option. For the longest time, health facilities were in poor condition at Suguta Marmar and Barsaloi, places long forgotten with no access to roads, insecure and plagued by extremely harsh weather. An upgrading venture driven by private and public partnership is giving new hope to expectant mothers and the entire community.
Barsaloi dispensary we first reported about pales in comparison to the Barsaloi dispensary that you can see now. A better facility that bears a greater promise to the children and the women in this community.
Comprehensive project will ensure that no mother dies whilst giving birth. and the children live to become healthy Kenyan adults.
Nayeku has not yet been baptized.
I want her to become a doctor. That's my dream for her.
If a child lives long enough, it may not really matter where he or she was born. Nayeku's story represents a village, a community that is coming to birth, whose transition is not immediate or completely perfect. But every day there are nuanced changes, steps closer to better healthcare, better options for expectant mothers, and every child that will be born here. Dorcas Wangira, KTN.
Let's switch gears now. Canu youth wingers were feared for their ruthless brutality, but there was no fear when thugs attacked 5 Canu youth wingers in 1988. The attack near Dandora dump site left 3 people dead and 2 others fighting for their lives. KTN's Timothy Otieno traced the families of the 2 remaining survivors and filed this following report.
December 1988 at Dandora dump site, 5 Canu youth wingers were scouting the area, a daily routine that on that night would change their lives forever. A quick ambush and a small crossfire between the youths and an unknown group left 5 people bleeding and fighting to stay alive. One of them is 55-year-old John Njoroge. He had spotted a group lurking near the dump site and decided to investigate.
Wakatuuliza nyinyi ni kina nani? Sisi tukamwambia sisi ni Canu youth winger. Nao wakatujibu nyinyi ndio mnakataza sisi tufanye kazi yetu. Hakuna lingine ni kufyatua risasi.
Njoroge was shot twice. 4 of his workmates got 3 gunshots each.
Sinaona hii shimo ni ya risasi. Iliingia sasa ikaja ikakaa nini? Ikakaa kwa kifua. Ambayo nilifanyia upasuaji katika Kenyatta.
A bullet fractured his right arm and in the process dislocated the joint, forcing him to accommodate a metal plate connected with 7 screws at the joint. But Njoroge was lucky to escape with his life. 3 of his colleagues died that night, and the only other person who survived the ordeal, Joseph Kamau, passed away last year. His 34-year-old daughter Helen is left with pictures of her father's burial that she now cherishes as her source of solace.
Venye tu maisha yake ilianza kuharibika tu on the spot venye alipata that accident. So unaona maisha yetu ikakuwa ni ile mnabahatisha kukula, mnabahatisha nini. Unaona mpaka wasai hata hivyo ndio tu tunang'ang'ana juu sasa utashindwa ufanye.
Helen says her father died with a bullet still lodged in his arm 25 years later.
Hiyo serikali ya kitambo mimi naweza nikasema ya hii kutujali juu kama ilimjali pia sisi watu tungetaka kusoma tukoe na majob zetu. Sasa unaona hatukuweza hivyo.
The Canu Youth Wingers was an initiative by the then government to engage the youth productively in supporting the police in maintaining law and order.
Mtoto wako aenda kununulia shukali. Ukimpea shilingi moja ama saa zingine hata ukiwa ni wewe mwanaume na unatembea na bibi yako, unapigwa na bibi yako anashukuliwa hapo. Kulikuwa na ugaidi mkali.
Tegemea jirani hapa. Na kweli tumesaidia sababu tuko na upendo. Hata kama tungekuwa na hiyo pesa, tungekuwa kama tumeshalipa.
Njoroge feels that Canu neglected them after the incident.
And there's no record in the office to show me that even which was transferred and carried over. But I can vouch for the fact that we never had a security force called youth wing.
He blames his poor health for his loneliness. His wife took their 6 children with them when she left in 2011. This wooden structure is all John Njoroge has left 25 years after that fateful incident that left him physically handicapped. He says over the years life has been of struggle, regret and much pain, and he hopes that the new year will come with better results, at least health-wise. Timothy Otieno, KTN.
Right, to some good news now. A 10-year-old girl from Olkinye in Narok South has been rescued from early marriage by security personnel in the area. The girl, who's a standard 2 pupil at Olarowan Primary School, had been married off by her father to a 29-year-old man. The area chief says that the girl had been married for just 1 day before they rescued her, but had not consummated the marriage because a ceremony to formalize the union had not taken place.
Her father and husband were arrested while planning for the ceremony. The rescued girl will be taken to Talek Boarding Primary School and will be spending her holidays at the chief's home.
carried off to this man who is around 28 or 29 years old, enough to have been his father. And this is the father of the kid.
It is finally here. The presenter, season 2. Thousands of contestants thronged the Standard Group Center for that one chance to be the next presenter, and indeed they put their best act on stage as they came before the judges. I think the auditions are still going now as we speak. Let's take a look at what happened during the day.
By 7 a.m. this morning, the Standard Group headquarters was full of activity. They came from all walks of life, but with one goal: to be the next presenter. These contestants know that above all else, confidence is key.
The opportunity, it was a blast. I'm grateful for having this opportunity to come and do the audition.
Moments before the judges called them in, some contestants were all nerves. Judges are expecting at least 6,000 contestants who are being auditioned today and tomorrow, Sunday, the 11th of January. The first presenter took place 6 years ago, giving rise to the beautiful Edith Kimani. The show also opened doors for talents like Linda Nyangweso and actress Sarah Hassan. The grand prize is a guaranteed job with KTN. Catherine Omwando, KTN.
Right, and like you said, the auditions are still going on now from 8 a.m. today.
Up until now, I mean, almost, what was it, 2,000? Upwards of 2,000 people.
Upwards of 4,000.
4,000.
Yeah, but, you know, it happens again tomorrow, so it starts at 8, so you want to be here early because I understand it's first come, first served.
First served,
yeah,
most definitely.
Yeah.
Presenter season 2, very interesting. Let's see who the next Edith Kimani is going to be.
Absolutely.
Right. Now, the Nairobi County government is trying to resolve the issues raised by the county workers who have issued a strike warning over work-related issues.
Now, the workers gave the Nairobi County government a 4-day ultimatum to meet their demands or face the strike. Fatma Pole has that story.
On Wednesday, 14 January, all activities in Nairobi County offices may come to a halt if the county government fails to meet the demands of Nairobi County workers.
We gave them a notice so that they can have cleared this amount of money by Tuesday, 13th, because on Wednesday, 14th, all the workers who are members of this union will be downing tools to parade at City Hall until the grievances are fully addressed by the government of the city county.
If an employer delays our salaries or any form of payments, then employees have the right to go to the premise of the employer to demand for those payments.
The county workers through their union want the county government to address 5 issues: payment of outstanding 5-month salary arrears, reinstatement of the Joint Workers Committee established under the Local Government Act, payment of pension dues. They want the employer to stop what they are calling interference with the collective bargaining agreement signed between them and the Association of Local Government Employers on October 12, 2012. Repeal the Official Secret Act of 1968. If all this fail, the workers say they'll take to the streets.
Unless the 5 items are addressed, we are saying we will parade until they are all addressed. None of the issues that we have talked about is useless to us.
On their side, Nairobi County officials have urged the workers to keep calm as their grievances are looked into.
Our strategy will be to show them exactly how we can be able to pay this money within the month of January or latest mid-February.
Last year, Nairobi County suffered a huge blow after city workers downed their tools to demand an increment in their salaries. To avoid a repeat of the same, Nairobi County officials say they are ready to dialogue with the union so that an amicable solution can be found. Fatma Pole, KTN Weekend Prime.
After a 3-week break, the always energy-sapping Kenya Cup action got into its 7th week today. KCB fended off Total Nondis with a 24-10 scoreline at Ruaraka Sports Club, and in another thrilling encounter, Homeboys emerged victorious over a resilient Lunchbar Quins to go 6th on the league. Now, Robinson Okey was out there today and has more.
In the Homeboys Queens tie,
Homeboys took a 3-0 lead 5 minutes after the first whistle, after Michael Lubisia successfully converted a penalty. 10 minutes later, Leonard Mugaisi gave Homeboys a 10-0 lead after breaking through a crowded park. Mugaisi added 5 more points to give Homeboys a 17-0 lead at halftime. In the second half, Queen's attack started yielding as Godfrey Okoth gave the Ngong Road-based side their first 3 points. Arthur Ocheng's prowess played out as he made 2 successive tries to leave Queens trailing by 2 points. William Maura was instrumental with a try for Queens, but Bush Mwale and Kevin Ochami secured 14 points for our Homeboys' 36-22 party.
To me, we can only climb, and I'm looking in terms of how the boys are training and how positive it is in the team, rather than maybe the team that we are playing against, or maybe getting to the semi-finals. So we are building on our strength and the team in general.
In another match, KCB were 24-10 victors over rival Toto Nondis. Both teams went into the break with 5 points apiece, but after the breather, KCB made 14 points to win the tie. League leaders Strathmore Leos grabbed a narrow 23-22 win over Mwamba at the Impala Club, while Nakuru RFC outtrained Western Bulls 37-6. In Mombasa, main machine calls for redemption were answered against Mombasa Club. The Nairobi-based side collected their first win of the competition, edging out Mombasa Club 43-0. Robinson Okenye, KTN Sports.
All right. Whoever's on the sports desk today doesn't like us. The LeBron-less Cleveland Cavaliers through... Oh, come on. All right.
Red lorry, yellow lorry.
All right. Okay, let's get into the feedback today. Of course, we had been talking to Ben Yebe, who's Meshach Yebe's brother, on his disappearance and subsequent murder. Dennis Busolo says on Twitter, one is safe as a suspect than as a witness in Kenya. Solomon Onyata saying, we're tired of unresolved murders. The government should take responsibility. And Sylvester Aura on Twitter also saying, why hasn't the government traced the genesis of the SMS that was sent to the family claiming Yebe was in Uganda? Well, the government have said they're, still investigating the matter. So let's see what.
But it is very interesting, the kind of sequencing of events with the SMS and then his disappearance and then Karim Khan's statement. Quite interesting if you're looking at it from the perspective of suspicious parents and worried parents and relatives of Meshach Yebe, as a family man outside of him being an ICC witness, whether he was or not.
Yeah.
He was an
what
ICC
I found
witness.
interesting about what Ben said was everybody started to say he was a witness or they knew him in one way or another after his death, but that wasn't known. But well, obviously a lot of unanswered questions.
But one thing coming out very clearly, that the government did know that at the very least Meshach Yebe's life was under threat as early as September 2013, quite in contradiction.
Well over a year ago.
Exactly, well over a year ago, and quite in contradiction to the Attorney General's statement today about knowing whether Meshach Yebe was under threat or whether he was an ICC
or not. Well, we're getting many requests on social media for you to do an investigative piece on this, so hopefully we'll see that at some point in the future.
All right, but we will be looking into that case, at least from the point of view of news coverage, and staying with it until it concludes one way or another.
Right, yes. Okay, so that's it for us, or from us tonight. Remember, the presenter auditions carry on tomorrow before 8 o'clock. If you're here, then you can join this awesome team and be the next Edith Kimani or the next whoever you will be. So we look forward to seeing
what
that
they should do. They should ask them to read this quote.
Yes. The LeBron-less Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, thank you for watching our show tonight, and thanks also for your feedback. Have a good night. My name is Yvonne Okwara Matole. We will see you again tomorrow.
I'm John Alanamu. Good night, and thanks for watching.